All the Juggalos in recovery.
About not asking for help.
Oh, that's how we're gonna start off. We're not even gonna
That
do any readings or nothing. You're just gonna go right
okay.
into it.
All right, all right, all
Oh
right.
man.
Hello, Mr. Bryant. My name is Frank. I'll be running the meeting tonight. Juggalos in Recovery is about the community in recovery. There is no judging here. Everyone is unique, so there is recovery. So is their recovery. Our topic tonight is not asking for help. Feel free to talk about your experience. This meeting is about an hour long. For any newcomers, we appreciate the strength and humility you bring to the meeting, and we are happy you are here. Now, let's get into it, Mr. Bryant.
Oh man. So I mean, not asking for the help. That's the story of my life. Um, and even people that would wanted to help me knew there was no point in helping me because I wasn't ready for the help. So 18 years of drinking, drugging, institutions, psych wards, penitentiaries, county jails, because I didn't want to be perceived as weak or I couldn't handle something, led to a lot of poor choices in my life and a lot of bad times. I mean, there's good times too, but I mean, the not asking for help, man, that took a lot of pain and misery to get to the point where I was willing to even accept a program of action or take suggestions or willing to try anything different in my life. I literally had to become so mentally, physically, spiritually broken to ask, hey, I obviously don't know what the fuck I'm doing in my life. I'm 30 years old. My life is in shambles. I've burnt every relationship, every friendship into the ground. So obviously something's not working here. I've done this time and time again. And when I became more open-minded to a different way of life and started asking for help, things started to change drastically. Now the problem is the longer I stay sober, I want to try to handle things on my own. And it's still the same old song and dance. Once the pain gets great enough, then I'm willing to ask for your advice. Until then, I want to try to handle it on my own, which isn't always a healthy thing. But there's plenty of times in my recovery, I run into a situation I haven't addressed and I have to call one of my bosses or one of my sponsee brothers or my sponsor or somebody I know who's been through a similar thing. Go, bro, I don't know what to do right now because my old self wants to come back out of the cage and go into rage mode, but my new self goes, that isn't right. And what should I do to deal with this situation? And I mean, I usually know the answer to the question. So it's more like I'm trying to vent about the situation so I don't explode. I always hear, you should do the sick man's prayer. God will handle it. A higher power will handle it, whoever it is you believe in. Sick man's prayer is like, you pray for him because that person is obviously sick and show him patient love and tolerance because there's obviously something going on that makes them that way, that makes you feel this way about a situation. And I have to learn, like, I only control how I feel and how I act about things, right? So a lot of times the things I'm not asking help for is the emotions I'm going through. I would rather process it on my own and deal with it on my own than to ask for help because I don't feel like I want to burden people with my problems because everybody has their own problems. But if it's a serious issue or it's something that's been weighing on me and I hit one of those like emotional slumps, I ask for help because these days that's the only way I'm going to stay sober besides a higher power or stay growing is asking somebody else for help.
Mm-hmm.
And the longer I stay sober, it's less me asking somebody for help. It's more people asking me for help. And sometimes I'm at a loss for words of how I can help somebody, and I have to ask somebody else, how can I deal with this? Or I have to guide them to somebody who is more experienced with that situation, because I can only help somebody based off of my experience, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't want to like not genuinely help somebody when they ask me. Same as if I was to ask somebody else, I wouldn't want them to disingenuinely help me. I would want them to give me their experience with that kind of situation, you know? And that is a big thing a lot of people like us go through, people like me, right? Because our ego, our pride, our self-esteem, everything, we don't like to ask for help, right? We feel, I know I felt, you know, less than, unworthy, you know what I mean, when I had to ask for help, like especially when a lot of people look up to you as this strong person or this super spiritual person or all this, but I have my moments in my days too. I'm not always the strong person. I'm not always the best spiritual person on certain days. I'm not always the most refrained person, you know what I mean? So it makes it harder when you're held in a higher regard to ask for help at times though.
Mm-hmm.
So learning a boundary and knowing when you're human, you know, that you're human too, and to quit letting other people's expectations guide your choices and asking for help or doing something about something is something I keep dealing with on and off, you know, because things will go good for so long and I'm like, I got this. And then when stuff's not going so good, I'm like, well, where have I been lacking at? Oh, I ain't been doing X, Y, and Z that's gotten me this far, you know?
Yeah, I
So,
hear you. So
hey,
one of
Josie,
the things, hey
and,
Josie,
What's up?
and
Hi.
uh,
I'm late because I failed because I didn't realize it was at a different time today. Oops.
you're good.
Mondays are going to be at this time from now on, at least for the next 4 months. Um, but so the topic tonight is not asking for help. And see, I was going to go, you touched on it a little bit, D. The way I'm going to go about it is why I don't ask for help, or why at times I don't ask for help. And a lot of the reasons I've realized lately is that I like having the control over the situation. If I control the situation, then anything that doesn't happen or that goes wrong is within my power, and I'm the only one who can get blamed. And it's much easier dealing with myself than dealing with other people. But I've come to realize that that is a very toxic way of dealing with not asking for help, because like what me, you, and Chris just knocked out within a matter of minutes, I was struggling for days and days trying to figure out how many topics, over 180 topics that we came up with, the three of us, and my wife helped with some too. And I wouldn't have been able to do that alone, not that quick. Like sometimes it's just worth humbling yourself a little bit and uh, getting humbling yourself a little bit and realizing that you're not a superhero, that you are a human being who can only handle and do so much. So when it comes down to not asking for help, a lot of us are afraid of losing control. Some of us are afraid of um, letting others take responsibility for what you feel is your responsibility, letting go of that. What's the word I'm looking for?
Attachment,
Yes, that
responsibility.
yeah, so the attachment to I need to get this done, it's mine, it's no one else's problem. Putting a burden on someone else. I know for me growing up, I was always treated like I was a burden. And if I had to ask for help for someone, I was told, why can't you do it yourself? So it was like programmed into me from a very young age. And now I've gotten to the point to where I'm so used to doing things by myself or on my own that it's hard for me to accept that other people are just willing to help just to help. Nowadays, at least during my active addiction, it was very, um, I'm going to help you, but what am I going to get in return? And I got sick of dealing with people like that. So I just started doing things by myself and I'd help others. And a lot of the time I was the same way. I would help them if I was getting something in return. And then I got sober and I stopped asking or needing or expecting anyone to give me anything in return when it comes to me helping them. I just did it out of the kindness of my heart and I turned down a lot of things because of it. But by me turning down those things, I got so much love and respect tenfold because of that. Wow, this topic can go deep as hell. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I got some more to add on. Keep sharing.
So now, right now, a lot of the reasons why I don't like asking for help is because I have an attachment to doing things doing things for myself because my ego gets in the way, because my pride gets in the way. I don't want to humble myself. And a lot of that tends to hurt me in the long run. And you can ask that pretty young lady who just showed up, that I have gotten extremely defensive about when people want to help me just because they see that I'm struggling. But I refuse to allow them to help because of my pride and my ego. And it's a huge part of it. Um, so this topic can go in so many different ways. So who wants to speak next? I can babble on forever.
Can I double dip real quick?
Go ahead.
Um,
Thanks for
so
showing up, Frankie.
so so yeah, Frankie, Miss Sober, all y'all beautiful people in the room. All right. So I know this is Juggalos in recovery, but the big book is like what they say in AA about the director, and if I can control everything and everything goes my way, then everything will be fine, right? And I don't know, most of us Juggalos were like loners besides their own family, right? So everybody in life though has like this group or whoever, like they just want to feel a part of, whether it's helping or being helped, right? So in recovery, like even if it's just getting help or being of service by helping somebody else, it makes a bond, right? And that's why it's like we don't go this alone. Like we have a group that we go through this together with, that we lean into, right? Because those are the people we can relate to and feel like we're a part of whatever the group is, right? And with doing everything on our own all the time, like we don't learn or grow from that, right? A collective mind is always better than one great mind, right? Because you have different perspectives and viewpoints and stuff going on that maybe we won't think of because we're stuck in one mindset or one moment or one train of thought, and it's hard to get out of that. And then I know for me also too, when I was younger, like after asking for help so many times, even if it wasn't like the help that I wanted and not getting the help that I needed or whatever, like I quit asking for help and started like, I'm always going to do this on my own, because every time I ask for help, people fail me. But I was asking help for the wrong reasons. You know what I mean? Like, help me get a few dollars so I can get high and drunk. Of course they weren't going to help me. Help me because I'm sleeping on the street. Of course they weren't going to help me because I dug that hole to lie in. And after crying wolf so many times for not being serious about things, people quit wanting to help. So relearning how to ask for help because I genuinely want to be a better person and then getting that help is different. With that, I'm going to shut up because there's plenty of other people in the room that can share on this topic.
Thanks, D. Who else wants to share? Don't make me keep talking.
I'll share because this is interesting at the moment for me. I would say I could go both ways with this. Not asking for help sometimes for me is a lot safer than asking for help because, like, my situation I'm going through right now, I've literally asked anyone I could think of in this area for help and support with what I'm going through. And it's either people don't know what to do about it or they just don't want to handle it because it's so out of the ordinary and so messed up. And some of it, yeah, was on me for letting it go for so long. But I've also been trying for, on some of it, almost a year. And literally today, I had cops even in this area not know what to do or want to answer my questions because I asked them, okay, if something's going wrong, who do I call for help? Because I'm getting disrespected by you guys even for literally asking for help when I'm getting harassed, when I'm trying to do better and get away from these people, but they won't go anywhere. So I would say doing things on my own have worked, but when I have been trying to ask for help, it's like I get the run around and it's basically one thing after another and different calls and everything else. But getting somewhere now. So I don't ramble forever now. That's all I can think of at the moment.
I mean, I can definitely relate to those things. I mean, like I was saying earlier, some people can only help through experience. And I know for me, like if I haven't experienced it, I might be able to give you an advice or a suggestion, but it's harder to help without the experience on certain topics. Like some things are out of certain people's depths. It's not that they don't want to help you or can't help you. It's that
Yeah, and
they
not to be
haven't
mean either,
experienced
cut
it.
you off, but you're also a male as well. So you can help to an extent, but some of the things I've gone through, you wouldn't be able to even go through the same exact things or similar, even in a sense, because we're the opposite sex. That's not trying to be mean, that's just
Exactly.
being honest with it.
No, that's the truth, though.
So, when I rolled this meeting topic, I did not expect this deep of a meeting. So the carnival has surprised me today. Holy crap.
It does provide.
It does. It very much does.
Frank, Miss Silver?
You want to say
Frank.
something there, Stacy? I think Frank left. Frankie D left. We do have Amanda. Amanda, do you want to say anything about not asking for help?
Are you talking about in general, like mental health, physical health,
However you
financial
can,
help?
however you can spin it.
Well, I gotta need a topic.
It's that general for a reason. Whatever pops in your brain, talk about it. Asking for help, not asking for help affect you? How does asking for help affect you? What are the struggles that you've dealt with over the years about
I haven't even thought
asking for
about
help?
this. I go through a lot of relationships problems because my girlfriend won't ask me for help and will bottle her shit up.
Yeah. I don't know where you are on your screen, but this lady right here, Miss Stacy, has that same issue. She does not like asking for help. She has a lot of things. She's gotten better, a lot better over the years, but she tends not to ask for help.
Oh no, I'll suffer before I'll ask for help. Um, I have a hard time like asking for help, and I'm not dealing with addiction. So I mean, I can understand the struggle. Like it eats at my pride having to ask for help. And it makes me feel less of a person. Stop, Henry. Less of a mom, wife, etc. when I have to ask for help. Well, your principal told you this door's locked. So I don't stop running. I just don't know exactly like what you want me to say.
Well, you missed the beginning of the meeting. We said how me and Frank both said those same feelings about how it makes us feel to ask for help. Because that is the common human problem with not asking for help, is you feel those things because we all want to be the strong one, especially when you're in parent roles or leader roles
Yeah.
or
So
roles.
we have a unique situation right now. Stacy has dealt with the struggle of not asking for help and when to ask for help and all that, but she also deals with me when I don't want to ask for help and I don't ask for help. So how about you spin it that way?
I can throw you under the bus. So
There.
So you were having a hard time. You wouldn't admit it. A lot of the times you don't. But it took a toll on me having to like constantly like, hey, you need to talk to so-and-so. You need to do this. You need to do that. Like, I understand you're hurting, but you need to do it. Because if not, you're going to ruin our relationship. Barely asked for help. We barely made it through 2020. And let me say that. The only reason why we made it through 2020 is because I didn't give up on you. I didn't walk away. When you were trying to walk away, I pulled that fucking leash back. Because I knew you would never be able to deal with that shit on your own. You did the same thing to me. I mean, you did it with my dog.
I did.
I mean, I knew you loved my dog too, but I mean, you did it with my dog. You did it with Josh's brother. You did it with my uncle. I don't want to ask for help. It wasn't up until just today that I said something to you about talking to you on Wednesday about how to deal with mental, emotional shit.
And here's a weird part about that, the fact that you asked me, and it kind of caught me off guard when you asked me to begin with, but the fact that you were capable of actually asking and saying, hey, this, now mind you, this is something I've been trying to push into your brain for at least 3 years now. Actually say, hey, I need to talk some things, I need some help, blah, blah, blah. And I've been trying to get you to do this forever. But
hell no, I
finally,
wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have done it. I
but
can admit
that's
it.
the
I don't want to
thing.
fucking be weak.
But that's the thing, is that's a stigma when it comes to asking for help. That is not the reality. When you ask for help, you're actually showing that you're a stronger human being because you know your limits. And that's the beauty of this, is the fact that you are finally comfortable enough with me, at least, to ask for that help. And I'm gonna tell you right now, it caught me off guard, and I'm very happy and proud that you did it. But it's not, you don't ask for help because you're weak. You ask for help because you know your limits as a human being. Go ahead, D.
I think that's a really good point, because I know even now, like sometimes it's not a direct ask. I get so overwhelmed with the amount of responsibility that I'll tell my other half, like, yo, I can't do this. I can't do everything. I'm not Superman. Like X, Y, and Z happens all week while I'm working. I'm never home. And then come the weekend, I feel like I'm doing 100 things that could be done before the weekend and I need help because I can't keep going on like this, like feeling like everything is on my plate. And I think mentally and emotionally, it's easier for me to vent and ask for help. But when it comes to household things that have to be done and projects, like I'll just go, I'm going to do it instead of asking for help. Like, I'm not the most experienced here and you got all this knowledge. Why don't you help me? I'm stubborn in that degree where it's like, no, I'm going to do it. Like right now, I got to like redo shelves on my wall because the drywall was too thin and the anchors didn't hold and my shelves fell. Because, and then right downstairs, I have my dad who's a general contractor, but I was too stubborn to ask for help. So when it comes to stuff like that, that is the problem because I don't want to seem like I'm a grown ass man that can't do something. But mentally and emotionally, I don't mind venting and asking for help because, like you said, it's a sign of strength on because you learn from those things, that experience of needing the help, and you learn from the help given, right? And it's a sign of growth, and it's a healthier way to handle things. Where before I would just stuff everything down and like explode. I'm sick of this and fuck you and fuck that and fuck this shit and this is fucking, you know, and that's the unhealthy thing in any relationship, whether it be coworker, friendship, personal relationship, right? Is to bottle it all up and never say how you feel.
But
Because that's been the most of my fights for 16 years was bottling my shit.
But
what if you're in my situation? What? No, Sadie.
That's the question for my other half.
Hold on, I'm not done. What about if you're in my situation? My husband is across the world. Do you know how hard it is to sit there and say, hey, I need help, but you can't help me? And then when he's here, I don't want his help because when I needed it, he wasn't here. And I felt like shit. What do you do then?
Lack of experience in that situation.
That is a very short-term programming of the mind that shows, hey, I've been wanting this person's help for so long. They're finally here and capable of giving it to me, but now I'm going to show them and I'm going to prove to them that I don't need their help anymore. To me, that's a defense mechanism to protect yourself.
Habits and rituals, whether addicts
Yes.
or a person that lives with an addict, we are creatures of habit and ritual.
I mean, we're all human. But I mean, you got to think though, like if you're having to deal with everything by yourself, you tend to just not rely on anyone, and that's not healthy. I know it's not healthy, but I mean, I have no motherfucking choice. I mean, is Frank gonna like come cut my grass the way I want it because my ex-husband cut it shitty? I mean, not tomorrow.
I'll be there in 4 months.
A few months. Like, that's gonna be useless. Frank's not here to help me pull down my Christmas shit. So I do know that I need to rely on other people and I need to learn to relinquish a lot of control. But it ain't easy. Even on a sober person, it ain't easy. Asking for help.
See that's where I love this group that we've all created. The fact that a non-addict such as yourself and many other non-addicts deal with the same things we deal with, except we have an outlet and a community that we can rely on to help show us the right way to handle things. So like take that situation on a general spectrum that you were talking about, babe. A wife that has a husband who works all the time, who is barely home, learns to deal with the household stuff by herself on a constant basis. All of a sudden, the husband has more time at home and wants to help around the house to show that the respect and the love and the care, whatever the reasons are, to hold up his ends of the responsibility. That wife is going to have to relinquish the control, have the humility to know that it's okay to let someone else handle things. The ego is going to have to get out of the way. The pride is going to have to get out of the way. The don't either do it my way or the highway is going to have to go out the window. All this stuff is going to have to change. And for people like me, I want that change overnight because I want to help right away. I have learned very, very slowly that that is not possible to happen overnight. I just want to jump in and start doing shit, and that's not possible. Like the progress me and Stacy have made has taken years, and a lot of the things that are still going to happen because that's just how life is. It's one of those things with not asking for help or asking for help, or it all depends on how you view it and how self-aware you are. Are you dealing with active self-awareness on a minute-to-minute basis? Are you capable of stepping out of a situation and realizing that you need to look at a situation in a different way? A lot of the times, I have a hard time doing that because I want it done my way. A lot of the times, I have a hard time letting go of the control. Like I said earlier, I like having control over things. I like being in charge of things. And when I'm not, it tends to fuck with my head because I'm not actively self-aware of what my brain is doing and that I'm being a non-healthy person at that point in time.
Yeah, like, you know, the small example is like when you were making my shoe shelf.
I'm never gonna let this down.
No, you're not. But and you know, I communicated to you what I would like, and you reciprocated with what you wanted to do, not what I wanted. So then we both had to shut up, Henry. We both had to lower what we wanted to do for each other, so that we could make sure that, you know, our unity was better, because right now it's not.
Yeah.
And I
And
think that, you know, that closet shelving unit for my shoes was a huge sign of like how much progress we've made. Because before I would have just like been a complete asshole and told you and put you in your fucking place, and you would have stormed out of the house and broke the door or fucking skidded down the driveway, and you didn't. You straight up listened and everything. I mean, it was hard for you because I was telling you you did something wrong, but the progress in the 4 years that you and I have made together and you have made by yourself is such a positive thing. And I never realized like communication works. I just did shit my way.
And see that's another thing that comes into this whole not asking for help and asking for help thing is communication is a huge part of it. I can walk up to Bryant or Josie or Amanda and Stacy and be like, hey, I need help. None of you know what I need help with. I just said I needed help. You have to communicate and get your point across on what you need help with. So if I walked up to you, Josie, and I was like, all right, Josie, I need some help. I'm dealing with this situation. I explained the situation of my wife isn't listening to me. I'm having a hard time at work. And I just word vomit all this crap onto you. I have now put everything into your court, but now by doing that, I've voiced all my concerns, and now you are in a position to help me. Now, there's a line that needs to be drawn when it comes to helping people as well. That that saying, I love this saying, whatever, is you cannot help someone if your cup is empty. I call it the cup of life. Josie would not be able to help me with this situation if she's got a shit ton of shit she's dealing with herself. So one,
But I'm gonna stop you for a second just because
All
you're gonna
right.
keep going. Because I've actually had this because a lot of my homies will come to me or my friends or my mom or my aunt and give me a bunch of shit things to say and everything else. And my first thing is, do you have a drink or a different freaking thing you can focus on for a second? Basically, my main thing I tell everyone at a sense, because I know it helps, is can you drink water or tea right now? And then let's talk about this again, because then your mind is focused on a different sensation first. And then it's easier to help figure out whatever whoever is going through without it being jumbled and hurting either person's side brain at that point.
That's pretty good. I like that. Go ahead, D.
So, I had to learn very hard way in a relationship that my partner is not a freaking mind reader because I assume they pay attention to my every move and they're reading my mind on what I'm doing. And it's like, why didn't you volunteer the help? Like, you see me struggling. Why didn't you just help me? Right? But they're not going to help unless I ask them, even if they were watching me struggling. And I know the saying you're talking about because if I'm not mentally or physically or spiritually right, I may not be the best suited to help at that moment because I've had plenty of the days where I have 100 things going on. I'm so mentally stressed that somebody's like dumps a whole bunch of extra stuff on me, and I'm like, I am not even in the right headspace to give you the advice or situation because right now I am drowning. Um, and that is the saying, you can't, if your cup's empty you have nothing to give anybody else, right? That's why personal care, self-care is important because you have to make sure you're in the fit condition to be of service to other people. And I've run into that problem in my recovery where I want to save everybody and help everybody, and I get so burnt out that I'm on the back burner and might be 2 steps away from fucking my life up if I don't put me first sometimes, you know? And that's a really healthy thing if you're going to stay sober and grow as a person, is to put you first, even though it's selfish, but if it's in a good manner, that way you're able to help other people, right? Because if I'm so caught up in helping everybody and thinking I can save the world and I'm fucking Superman, I become burnout and I'm no use to myself or anybody else. Now I'm just sitting here playing the poor me card because I have expended every amount of energy and not thought about myself, not meditated, not had an hour just listening to music in peace and quiet, not turning the notifications on my phone off for a day or whatever I need to do to unplug to make sure I'm okay. Haven't been working a program, haven't been going to meetings, haven't asked for help or spiritual guidance, you know, those things happen. And
Mm-hmm.
then who's the one that I'm upset at? Myself, but I'll take it out on everybody else.
Mm-hmm. A lot of the times when it comes to this, I personally project all of my wrongdoings on the people around me, especially when I don't ask for help.
That's what I was getting at.
Yeah, we're like two peas in a pod, Brian.
But also, if you're not actually taking care of yourself and giving yourself a minute to drink something or eat something too, if you do ask for help, no, and say you need help and try to explain, no one's going to understand what you mean, even if you're talking about it clearly either. I've learned this from myself and trying to help other people in the right path of anything because they get so confused on where they're going with it that it makes no
Mm-hmm.
sense.
And see, I do that a lot
Healthy
too, because
processing. That's a good point.
yeah,
Healthy processing. Sometimes you
mm-hmm.
got to sit back and reflect on a situation because when we're caught up in those emotions, it's just like a, and it's like overwhelming to the person that you're asking for help because you don't even know what you're asking for yet because you're still in the processing phase of whatever is going on. And I know I've done that plenty of times throughout my life.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you just told me 1,000 different things and I'm not sure what to make of anything. Like, what do you want from what you're telling me? sometimes you have to have that process and reflection of things that are overwhelming so you can get a grip and then explain it to somebody so you can get a different perspective and the help required from that situation.
And see, I deal with that a lot. I have, when I start getting overwhelmed, I tend to get, yes, I do that. I mentally dump everything out my mouth, and I have no clue what I just said. I don't know how I got to the point that I'm at in the conversation. Like, my brain, especially when I have something bothering me, my brain gets so jumbled and so uneasy, and it's like standing on a little rowboat in the middle of the ocean during a hurricane. Like, you just, I capsize every time. I don't know how to just sit back and be like, all right, take a second, Frank, just chill out. And what actually is the problem? 90% of the time, it's something so simple as I don't have control over it, so why am I caring about it? But that that one topic was what broke the hair that broke the camel's back.
No
I
filter,
would
gang.
say
I
with
feel you
that,
there.
paper and pen, writing shit down is the best thing, even to yourself.
And see, that's something I love doing. I just got out of the habit of doing it because I got complacent, because I was like, oh, I've been doing this for like 3 months now. I feel great. And I go for like 6 months or a year or however long, and I'm like, oh fuck, why am I so overwhelmed right now? It's because I got complacent and I didn't make time for myself and all this stuff. And it's a huge thing. I get so I am probably the world champion in getting complacent when it comes to taking care of myself. That's how I feel anyways.
I'm there with you. I don't know if you're the world champion. I'm there with you. I
Me
do it all the time.
too.
I think that's just a human thing. As with, especially with addicts and alcoholics, we get complacent when things are going so good, like I was saying earlier, and then when shit hits the fan, and then you take a step back and you're like, "What have I not been doing?" You're like, "Fuck, I've been slacking here, there," and that's why I'm out of character right now, because I've been putting myself on the back burner. And healthy coping mechanisms, you know, Josie, that's spot on. I like to draw, I like to write, I like music, I like, you know, that's healthy outlets when you're going through shit. And definitely
Mhm.
should journal more, but I'm more of a venter. Like, hey, this is overwhelming, can I just talk to you, like, and get this off my chest so I don't explode at the person involved in the situation.
Mhm.
So yeah, I've started doing DBT again, which is awesome, but a lot of people won't stick with that because there's so much to do with it, but it's definitely a fun thing to learn, especially a lot of coping skills, because it helps retrain the brain away from the negative and the positive and how to cope with things, which
What
that's
is it
one thing
called?
I was in a DBT. I was actually going to say, I have like a million handouts that I could send you or someone to help, like that you guys could include and stuff, because it actually gives a lot of skills on mindfulness, gives ideas of how to retrain your brain from negative to positive thinking.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a type of behavioral therapy.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
I don't remember the long word to it.
I put my email in the chat. So just send me an
Okay.
email, or just go on the website and send me whatever you're willing to send, because
Okay, I'll
all
do
that
that
stuff
at
will
some
come in
point later.
handy. Thank you.
Hmm. You're welcome.
And see, that's the beauty of a community. I'm gonna take this full circle. This community that we have, Juggalos in Recovery, the Juggalo community, the world that we live in. No matter whether you're part of it or not, you are going to be affected by it in some way, because it is so big and it's so contagious. Like, one thing that blows my mind all the time about how juggalos affect the world is, you can be walking down the street and see someone in need, and a lot of us are going to sit there and help that person. And whether it's mental, emotional, physical, it doesn't matter. A lot of us are willing to help other people, but the community is what helps teach us the tools we need to help those people. And it's the ripple effect all the way through life. It's amazing to me what this community does and can do and is going to do later on. Go ahead, Bree. You just stop raising your hand. Just keep dipping.
I'm gonna keep dipping. You know, I like to dip. So you were talking about earlier the storm in your brain, right? I call my hamster wheel. Once that thing gets
Mhm.
suspended, now I am having to go apologize for a ton of fuck ups and bad attitudes. And I'm just gonna shout out Josie. Josie, I'm super proud of you, and I'm gonna be brutally honest here.
What did I do
'Cause
now?
nothing.
That's
You've
my
just
okay.
you've just taken actions, right? There's a saying that we use here at work and other places, like, I don't like people who are assholes, not assholes, assholes. They ask. You give suggestions, but they never apply them to their life, right? I'm gonna be brutally honest because we've been talking a while. I've had moments where I'm like, Frank, I don't know what to do. I am out of my element with helping. But then I see you continuously come back and ask for help and start applying things in your life. And it's a total change in your personality and character, which
I
is just
second that.
amazing to see. It's amazing, beautiful thing to see when it happens. The growth that you see in somebody who actually starts applying stuff that is suggested to them.
Thank you. Well, I basically just got myself back by getting away from, even though you're saying they're not, I would say getting away from assholes that don't want to help themselves or care to, even if someone asks them for help to do shit, even if it's something as simple as helping move something because someone can't do it alone. Like, I've gotten rid of negative people and basically learned I can go back to my old homies and my old friends that I basically pushed aside because things got too fucked up and I couldn't deal with it. Because I've always been one that I ask for help and then I say fuck everyone and I do it my own way. But then I will realize, okay, that was fucked up, and I'll go back to learning the right way of doing it or more skills on top of what I already know to fix everything that I fucked up and then do other things that I need to do again.
Healthy boundaries, healthy relationships.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
assholes.
see that that's
I
something.
get assholes all the time in different fellowships, and they ask me, and I show them my experience, and I like get a sponsor, work some steps, try this, try that, and they don't do anything, and then they just bitch and bitch and bitch about how life is so shitty, but they're not looking at any silver linings. They're not putting any effort to grow or change, and that's the depressing part is when you try to help so much and it's not taken, and that's what causes, I think, like the burnout in your cup to empty. When you see the help that was given and the seeds planted and you see them grow, that fills your cup and it makes you feel like you're actually being of service to somebody, you know?
Yeah. And see, I'm gonna uh back up what D said. Josie, you have made a lot of progress since I've seen you come into these meetings, and it makes me happy to see you actually putting the work forward. I have seen so many times in addiction, life in general, that people always go back out and they stop listening, they stop working on themselves, they stop putting the tools that they've learned already into action. And being able to watch someone actually have that personal growth
Okay,
that
now I see. He must have been in the back.
isn't like extremely close to me, that I see every day. Like, I see my friends and family all the time, and being able to see someone else that I have a connection with that I don't get to see all the time, and see the growth that you make just from meeting to meeting is amazing. Like the way your demeanor is this week compared to last week, to me, you're two completely different people. You were overwhelmed. You were just all about all kinds of stuff in your head. And then this week you're more centered, you're more peaceful, you've got that serenity. And I think, I know that it's because you've been putting in the work. And that is what makes us all happy to see.
Yeah, and also putting myself on a timeout and everyone else putting me on a timeout in a sense and talking. And basically, I was answering if certain people messaged me or checked on me, but everyone else I basically told to fuck off in a sense. And I listened to music. I actually got mad at a few people for interrupting me if I was doing something for myself. But then I apologized later on and been like, I need to figure stuff out and you can't help me at the moment because you're just messing me up from doing what I need to.
And see,
Uh,
that is awesome growth because go ahead, D, because I feel like your words are going
no,
to be
go. No,
good.
go ahead. No, go ahead.
So that is something, I don't know how long you've got clean or sober, but it's amazing to me, even me for 9 years sober. Yeah, I still have to do that. I still have to force myself to take time for myself and clean up after myself.
Too.
And it's amazing to see someone else do it and knows that, well, if they can do it, then I still can do it. That just remotivates me and inspires me even more to keep going, doing what I'm doing.
Because it's not about
Yeah,
the
well,
time of your sobriety, it's about the quality.
I would say I've been on both sides. I've had my issues with alcohol, but then I've watched my family, my friends go down the hole, and some have gotten better, some gotten better and it was too late and they passed away. Others have gotten better and I'm proud of them. Like my mom being one of them. She messed up in the past and she's been in recovery for 7 years now. But then there's my dad who got clean and he passed away because he did shit too long that his time ran out to do good and be clean and have his goals and everything the right way for once.
Josie, I don't know if you were in the meeting when I said this part earlier. I think because it was in the very beginning of the meeting. But I always try to use it's from the big book though, the sick man's prayer. I always got to remind some people are sicker than I am, and it's nothing to do with me. It's what's going on with them. And I have to treat them with a patience, love, and tolerance because whatever they're going through, I obviously can't help, and I'm just the one that is feeling the force of it. And then let me put you on the spot here, if you don't mind. Since I'm terrible with birthdays, why don't you ask for help with somebody else in the room that might be better with birthday ideas? Because I'm no good.
What's up? Oh, okay. So I am actually going to go to my family for October 1st. That is my grandfather's birthday. He has passed away. I have not been with my family really for one birthday. Mine is on the 5th, so we used to celebrate them together. I am trying to think of a fun idea that's Halloweenish but kid friendly and that my grandmother would enjoy. Anyone have any ideas?
Hmm. There used to be a game. It's the only thing that I can think of when we had a Halloween party growing up. I forget exactly what it's called. It's like a murder mystery type game. And one person is it. And you go around shaking hands. And if the person who's it uses, like, when you shake hands, they go like that inside your palm, you're dead. And people have to figure it out before there's one person left. That was one cool thing that we did growing up. That's literally the only Halloween thing I have in my head.
Oh, that may be a good one because my daughter has gone into some creepy things just because my cousin's kid likes the ghost stories, likes the murder shit, but my daughter's kind of sweet and innocent and rather have cute things or she gets nightmares. So that would be a good one because that's kind of creepy but still kind at the same time.
Yeah, and see, it was about I was probably about 10 to 12-ish, around that age. And my brother's 3 years younger than me, and my brother, all my cousins used to play that game on Halloween. So it was really fun. So that might be something. You might be Google it or something, or just come up with a cool name for it. The murder mystery of the night, or whatever, birthday murder mystery. But yeah,
Women are good at ideas.
yes,
I'll
it
have
looks
my
like
daughter come
Miss.
up with an idea. She's creative.
There you go. But
Let's
with
talk
that,
about Stacy. Women are good at
yeah,
ideas.
yeah. Well, Stacey looks like she's dealing with some shit right now, so we're just gonna
Oh,
leave her
okay.
be.
I can't see the
Um,
screen, so
that's
my
fine.
bad.
We are gonna end this meeting. It is 2 o'clock in the morning my time. And my battery is at 8% on my laptop, so I gotta get off. So to end the meeting, thank you all for showing up. Thank you for all who are going to watch this on YouTube. Juggalos in Recovery meetings on YouTube. But with that being said, I believe no matter how long the road, if we walk together, we will get there. Even though we will face some of the darkest evil ever seen, we will face it as a community and stand fearless in its path. Nothing will stop us. With the help of our families and community, we will overcome the persecution and tribulations that life may cast from time to time. To the ones who still suffer and haven't found the path to serenity and community, we will continue to search for you and help you no matter your ailment. We carry our stories and messages to everyone who will listen. As the sun descends and night becomes, we arise and take the path. Thank you everyone for showing up. That is all for tonight.